Welcome to the Lovefly podcast. Welcome, Becky. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Oh, great. So Becky has come through and has got a slightly different story in terms of the trigger for her fear of flying. So we thought it'd be, actually Becky came to us and said, what about this? And we thought, oh, that's a great angle. So we're really delighted to have you on and looking forward to hearing your story and any tips you've got to share as well. So tell us, Becky, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm from England, getting slightly warmer England.
Yeah, not much. Yeah, we're looking at it.
And have quite a busy, chaotic job, which keeps me busy. And I kind of thought that I would just share my story today because the podcast has helped me hugely. And as you said, just coming from a different angle that might be familiar to some people, just to hear something that they might resonate with. Okay.
So if you don't mind, I'd like to tell us about your sort of fear of flying origin and, and also like how you sort of got to us and what you've done to help yourself. That would be amazing. So yeah. Tell us how.
Yes, I'll go back in time. So flying, never an issue for me, really. When I was younger, absolutely loved traveling, based my year around traveling. Where can I go? What can I do? Yeah. Flying for me was always an exciting part of the journey.
Yes.
To the point where I wouldn't let my husband book the flights. That was all. That was all up to me. And yeah, I loved being in the airport. I loved the whole kind of going through the system. I would say there was always a slight bit of anxiety there. I wasn't most comfortable up in the air, but once I was up there, I'd go, okay, well, I'm here now. I'll just read a book or, listen to something, but I'd be slightly more calm on the ground.
Right. So what was the anxiety about at that point?
For me, I think it was just, I don't have a fear of heights, but it was just the reality of I'm really high up. I'm in a small little vessel, really high up, and I'm just a bit more comfortable on the ground.
Yeah. But it is weird, isn't it? You think about it. I mean, the whole idea is just mad, isn't it? Like, that you can leap up into the air, 5 miles up in the air and fly along it. It's mind blowing.
I know. So I would have that in the back of my head, but it never ever stopped me. And like I said, I did have enjoyment of the traveling, to the point where I flew by myself to Australia, which is quite a long flight from here. No problems. Flew around Australia, no problems. Up until recently, flew, mostly Europe. I'd say I haven't done too much long haul, but mostly Europe.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine. And if I get to the point where things changed, it was about a year or so ago, because sadly I lost my mum. So for me, it was that whole experience of the grief which triggered where I am now, where flying is not as easy as it used to be.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. And so what do you think was that made it attach itself to fear of flying?
I really don't know. And to be honest, I think it's been very frustrating that it has, because the traveling for me was something to look forward to. And it always felt like that thing that I enjoyed when I was going through a really difficult time. Yes. That now was hard as well. When everything else was hard, that now became hard as well. I think if I kind of think about my personality a bit, I am probably a self-confessed bit of a control freak. And during the experience of because my mum was poorly, she had motor neurone disease. And during the 10 months from her diagnosis to when she died, it was a complete loss of control of everything. And I think that probably then manifested itself in the flying, because for me, it's not turbulence. It's it's not the thought that something could go wrong. I know flying's very safe, but for me, it's that I am in this tube and I can't get out.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is generally quite a good...
And it was actually, it's strange because it was in February 2023 that we lost her. And I took a flight in April and I was fine. So it wasn't the immediate flight after that I had the problem.
Yeah.
I flew to Sweden with my husband, and that was just normal flying for me. But then in the July of last year of 23, I went to fly on my own to see my friend in Portugal.
Right.
So 2.5 hours or so from the UK. And again, go to airport, fine. I had just come through a very busy part of my job as well, so I was really pretty tired at this point and looking forward to getting away. But yeah, all good, sat in my seat, really central in the plane. And there was a lady next to me who was almost kind of, I don't know what device she had. It was almost some sort of a balloon or something. That she seemed to be calming herself down. And just that, I went into a panic of, oh gosh, I don't want to be here. I'm on my own. I'm in the middle of the plane.
Yeah.
And that just spiraled and spiraled. And then just for the 2.5 hours, I just had waves of really awful panic, whether they were panic attacks or just really bad anxiety attacks, I'm not sure. But it was just really, really hard. And after that, that's where the difficulty started.
Yeah. And so for your mum's diagnosis and, and her passing was pretty quick as well, was a kind of hell of a shock. It is curious, isn't it, that something's like a few months later, then you develop this fear of, the anxieties come from maybe something that this person was doing that's triggered you. But it's an interesting thing, is that it's attached itself to that. Has it gone anywhere else? Like it's some sort of thing. But have you felt anything like this in any other thing that you do, like you work or any other forms of travel or anything like that?
No, I haven't. I've been on trains all okay. Bit of an anxious passenger in the car, but not too bad. It's just this, whether it was because there was a little bit of nervousness about it before, it really latched on. But I almost, when I look back on it and look back to that Portugal flight, I didn't fly over Christmas just because we had no holidays coming up, but that's when my mind really escalated and the frustration came and the annoyance came. So I almost wonder, was it grief distracting itself by focusing on the flying rather than focusing on everything else? It's interesting. I don't know.
Yeah. So what was the flight back to the UK like for you?
Well, I actually ended up postponing it because when I only was there for about 3 days and I was due to fly back and the weather said a storm. So given the fact that my anxiety was right at its peak, I went, absolutely not. I am not flying back in a storm.
Yes.
Yeah. So I paid to go back the next day and it was okay, but I still definitely had a few waves of that panic. And then I went away a couple of weeks later, and in the interim, I went to see the doctor and said, this happened. I know you can be prescribed medication. I knew I had a flight coming up, and she did prescribe something, which I didn't actually take because I didn't want to take it for the first time in the air. Yes. Again, that kind of control factor. But those 2 flights, although I did them, they were quite difficult as well. And after those 2 flights, I didn't fly, as I say, for about 6 months, but that's when it really spiraled in terms of my mind.
Yeah. And it's curious, isn't it? Because it hasn't gone anywhere else. This fear of flying's developed. you've linked it back. It's quite possible. Who knows? I mean, who knows how the mind works? It's just a very interesting. I lost my mum 3 months ago. I haven't done a flight since, and I'm thinking, is this what's going to happen to me? Which would be a complete irony. I'll have to resign from Lovefly straight away. But it's that's it. But it makes me wonder, like how curious the brain is that it does this. That you can find another way. The fear develops from a very unexpected place.
Yeah, and whilst I've enjoyed listening to the podcast, and I can talk about what's helped a bit later on, to be honest, I was just really frustrated that it landed in such a way, because like I say, traveling for me is just one of the most important things. I've had so many amazing experiences from traveling.
Yeah.
And I like listening to all sorts of podcasts. I'm quite into kind of history and various things. And now I was listening to the Lovefly podcast all the time. And I said, very enjoyable, but I thought, I want to get back to listeing to other things as well.
Yeah, not this bloody stuff, normal stuff, yeah, all right. I don't know, we get it, it's just feedback. So what's your theory then on how this has turned into fear of flying?
I think because everything that happened was so hard, I wonder if it was maybe a distraction of something to fixate on, to kind of channel all my, better to get angry at me and how I'm feeling about flying than get angry at the whole situation that we'd been through as a family. Right. So, yeah, that's my theory so far. But I did have support from a fantastic bereavement charity and had a few phone calls with them. I brought it up and they said that's not really our area of expertise.
Yes.
But everyone says it's really possible and common that grief just pops its head up all over the place. And I suppose maybe it linked itself to the flying and that flight to Portugal, because I did feel so exhausted potentially, and I did feel out of control, and all I wanted to do was get off that plane. When they said doors closed or whatever they say, I thought, oh no, I don't want the doors to close. So it's probably because and like I said, I enjoyed flying, but there was a bit of nervousness there. Maybe that's how it just popped up there. Okay.
So you so we're thinking back to this Portugal flight, then you did another flight. And at what point, how did you find us, and then what did you do?
So I did the flights to and from Portugal and a flight to and from Italy. None of them that easy, waves of the panic and things. So I think I just had a Google, probably like everyone else did, flying podcasts, and this one came up, and just like listening to all the stories on there. Became part of the Facebook group. Fantastic supportive Facebook group. Love seeing everything on there. So in terms of where I am, because for me, I haven't had this forever. I haven't had this for a long time. So it arrived quickly, and I was determined not to let it beat me. So I said, right, what am I going to do? Because I'm not going to not fly.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
It does. Yeah. So you found us lot, and then what was where are you now, and what's been your process to date?
So the things I have done, the things that I found have worked, has been the education side of it, which comes from the podcast, especially speaking to the professionals as well on the podcast.
Yes.
Because for me, it would be those little things that before this all happened would still make me nervous. Like I know now it's the noise abatement when you feel that slight drop.
Yes. And
now I know what it is. That helps a lot to know what all these little bits and pieces are. So educated myself, and knowing what's normal and the fact that everything's normal, and obviously how safe it is, and all those little phrases like turbulence isn't dangerous, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I also tried EMDR because in April I had a holiday and I said, right, I'm going to fly. I don't care where I go, I'm just going to fly somewhere. I've got my mind is taken off with this flying. I've just got to do it.
Yeah.
So I had a few EMDR sessions, 3 just before, which were useful.
Okay.
In terms of disconnecting negative thoughts to memories and things. And especially that Lisbon flight, we worked on really disconnecting how I felt on that flight.
Yes.
Which was good. So I'm, in terms of where I am, I think I'm definitely going in the right direction because I've got the mindset of I'm not going to be beaten by this.
Okay, Becky, I'll just ask a quick question. How did you decide to go towards EMDR of all the things you could have done?
How did I come across it? I think I was searching for flight hypnosis in my local area because I tried it once before, hypnosis, and I thought maybe I can do it specifically linked to flying and to get some good kind of phrases and mantras go around in my head or whatever. But someone local to me popped up as EMDR, and when I called this lady, who was absolutely lovely, she introduced me to EMDR and that would be better, and I said, okay, we'll give that a go. And it was interesting. It was definitely interesting.
And it sounds like it helped.
It did help. Yeah. I mean, I think she described it to me as a mind detox.
All right.
Brain cleanse. And after the year I'd had, I thought, it sounds ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take everything out. It needs a break. So we kind of worked on various memories that she called bothersome. Right. But then I said I particularly want to focus on the flying. So that's when we looked at that. And I only had those 3 sessions, but she said you can always come back for a top-up.
Right.
Before you fly again.
Yes, okay. So you did that. Then you did. So they had the flight come up in April. So you went to the EMDR 3 sessions before. By which time, how many sort of podcasts have you forced yourself to listen to?
I will say they are enjoyable.
It's all right. I know you'd rather listen to history ones. And fair enough.
Probably about 30 or 40.
Oh my goodness. And how did you choose?
I chose ones that were more linked to claustrophobia and the technical, why is it safe, sort of speaking to crew members. And for me, hearing the people, people who work on the airplanes and how they can help anyone who might be nervous, that's what I focused in on.
Right. Okay.
So those are the ones I chose. The knowledge and the claustrophobia, because as I say, I think it was that feeling of I can't get out that bothered me rather than any kind of safety element.
Yes.
That might worry others.
Yeah. So when as we record this, we're in beginning of May now.
Yeah.
I assume we're talking about last month.
Last month. Yes.
Wow.
It was only short. We only hopped over from the UK to Ireland, but that was enough for me just to get on the plane and to go through the airport, which held a lot of anxiety for me. Because like I say, it had just built up to a ridiculous amount over Christmas. My brain had just really played tricks on me. So I just had to get through the process, 45-minute hop for me over to Ireland, which I know is lucky for us living here because some people it's a lot longer.
Yes, yeah.
Up and over there and back.
And what was it like?
So going over, hard, I think, tricky. I had just a really debilitating amount of that anticipatory anxiety. Before we got into security, I mean, I was kind of putting one foot in front of the other. But I remember just popping to the toilets and really beating myself up and having a good cry, going, why is this so hard? Yeah. It shouldn't be this hard when it didn't used to be. So I had a good cry and then got through the steps. And once I was on the plane, because I think I popped on a little Facebook post once I'd got there saying, this is what happened. And a lot of people agree with this. Once I was on the plane, I got my aircon on, I kind of cooled myself off and calmed down. Yeah. And then it was generally okay. But that bit in the airport was really difficult. Yeah. Really, really hard.
Well, you crossed the sort of Rubicon, didn't you? That was it. You're like, that was the moment.
Yes. Like, I'm in the seat. I'm not getting off this plane. I know it's safe. I've just got to do this. I've got to get back on the horse.
Yes.
So to speak. And just to drop in there, actually, I listened to the old crap I'm flying tomorrow about 3 times leading up to it. And the tip of, I think it was called narrating the story.
All right. Yeah.
Was fantastic. I think not just for flying, but for me, my anxieties have increased a bit anyway because of everything that happened. So if I have a stressful day, I'll use it for that as well. So now I'm going to get on my train to the airport. Now I'm going to get through security, and it just breaks it down. I found that really useful, and I use it at work all the time. Now I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that. So, yeah, that was great. And so tricky going over, coming back, fine. I almost felt like I was back to normal.
Really?
At the airport. I wonder if it's...
Were you drunk?
It was all that Irish whiskey.
You can tell me, it's Guinness, isn't it?
I do think we'd exhausted ourselves on the 5 days we were over there because my husband and I, we like to sightsee. So we were just constantly out and about, museums and everything. Yeah. I was really tired at the end, so I always couldn't be bothered to get scared.
All right. Maybe the strategy, because that can go the other way for some people. They don't have the resources to deal with it. But for you, it was actually helpful, but it's to be knackered.
Yes. Yeah, I remember just thinking, I'm so tired. I just want to get home. I just want to see my cats. And for some reason, the amount of anxiety from before just didn't come. So, yeah, that's on the way back. So, in my mind, I do feel like long haul flights will be a bit more challenging because for me, that 45 minutes was doable. But the idea of 8 hours, 10 hours is still quite difficult.
Okay.
I've got to think what to do there.
Yeah. And what will you do?
Probably build up, so not go straight for a big one, but luckily in Europe we can do 2 hours here and 3 hours there and get somewhere really nice.
Yes, that's true. We're very lucky about that.
Yeah. And actually, just before then, I booked myself onto the EasyJet Fear of Flying because I know it has a flight, so I just had to have my next on a plane experience in mind. So I've got that one, and I know you've got one in Manchester as well. So just experiences to keep going with it because you can't let it tail off, and you just got to keep doing it.
Yeah. So the EasyJet course that's coming up? You say you've got
yes, in June.
Right. Okay. All right.
So just more education and the idea of getting on the plane, and you've got the kind of commentary and things. It's I don't feel too worried about it at the moment because I'm thinking, it's an opportunity to just learn a bit more and talk to some more professionals.
Yeah. And did you say you're joining us in June, or is that
no, I haven't booked onto the Manchester one yet, but it's definitely something I'd like to do.
Okay. Well, that'd be interesting. Well, you'll have a lovely day if you come and join us. It's definitely it'd be great to actually meet you as well. But no, I think it's a good next step for a lot of people. But obviously, you might not need it, but hopefully you will.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, enjoy this.
Maybe I'll become one of these people that learns so much and starts training to be a pilot in a few years.
Well, you never know. You'll be the first one. We've got a few that have come through as nervous flyers and have ended up as pilots now. To think of, well, at least, definitely maybe 5 or 6 just easily think of, however many others. So, and some of them have gone on to be cabin crew as well. So,
yeah, that's amazing. It's possible.
It's possible. It is possible. Give up your career now. I don't know, but it's so there could be an option. Okay, so, and what about other things that you're trying? So you've booked a couple of positive, proactive things like the EasyJet course and stuff, which is great because it's quite nice to have a continual journey towards it. What else are you doing at the moment to help yourself?
So I think a big thing for me, because it is that claustrophobia aspect, that letting my brain take off, the deep breathing practice. I'm not a huge yoga person, but I have been doing a bit more of that. The EMDR involved a lot of kind of breathing techniques as well. So I think just to try and stay grounded, to do those meditations, to do that yoga, especially on the lead up to a potential flight, because I knew breathing was powerful.
Yes.
But when we flew to Ireland, in my head, I'd said, this takeoff is going to be the test. Your heart's going to go. You're going to go into that panic attack like you did before. I was all ready for it. Then we started going fast down the runway, and I just did these really deep breaths, and it seemed to just make it disappear, that panic. And I just thought, wow, that really worked. It was a bit that kind of longer breath out than you take in, and those. So I think I need to, because I'm healing my brain slightly from everything that happened, as you probably know as well, that just to have those moments of self-care, I think are important on my journey as well as the other things.
Yeah, I agree. And also, without sounding morbid, it's just, when you lose somebody, it makes you think, right, I can't let anything stop me doing the stuff I want to do. That was what happens, not that I've particularly been holding myself back, but I just thought, it reminded me of a couple of things I'd let go of, and I just thought, no, I'm going to redo those, pick those things up again. It's just so easy just to to live automatically, isn't it? Yeah. So it kind of makes you conscious of it, I think.
Yeah. And when you do lose someone, I think another thing that's helped me is to give myself a talking to, going, come on, you're flying. Not everyone gets to do this. You're flying over somewhere. You're going to go and have a great time. Life is for going out and experiencing. And I just give myself a bit of a talking to.
Yeah, that's good.
Hear it in my mum's words as well, going, come on, pull yourself together.
That's nice. My mum never flew, so I always think, I'm doing this to help other people have that choice, and I think I'd never want someone to not be able to do stuff because of fear getting in the way of it, because you just don't know. As they say, tomorrow's promised to no one, and it's just it's about it's having choices, isn't it? Being able to do the stuff you want to do. If you're lucky enough to be able to afford to go away, that you can do it in a way that is doable for you without having to sort of think too much about it or worry too much or stop yourself because of these creeping thoughts and things. So.
Yes. Yeah. No, I wouldn't want to. Well, they say there's a phrase, I think, which is fear is temporary and regret is forever. I remember hearing that once. So, that one, and feel the fear and do it anyway, that one from the book, those two are kind of playing in my mind, going, this is just temporary. It's not. And I think as well, I think this all comes from Geeta's part on the I'm flying tomorrow part.
Yeah, that was her idea, actually,
She said some amazing stuff in terms of just being okay with the discomfort, because we're not used to it. Just going, okay, my heart's beating, I'm not feeling great, but it's fine.
Yeah, she is remarkable. It's like having her own personal Yoda.
Yeah.
Well, she's not ours, but she's been such a great contribution to the group. And there's people like Geeta, there's a few other people that just give their time and
and Pete's voice going, just go for it.
Yeah.
That's there as well.
Yeah, Pete Higgins.
Go for it.
Whatever, do it. He'll get on anything. The other guy I thought was really helpful, but he's not it's not something that's a regular, was that Noel Phillips, I don't know if you listened to his podcast, but he literally gets on any aircraft, goes anywhere, doesn't care where he's going. And I think John Bond's like that when he last flew. He did a post saying, I'm getting on a flight, I've no idea what aircraft type it is, who's running it, I'm just getting on a flight and that's it. That's not my job. And I think that those little messages could be quite helpful. So your one was, fear is temporary, regrets forever. Feel the fear, but do it anyway.
Yes.
The mic drop moments, Becky, you realise.
Well, it's all about the little phrases, isn't it? Which might stick in people's heads. So if they help.
So any other advice you've got for people who, because obviously you sound like you've made significant progress, which is great. And you've still got a little bit more to do by the sound of it. Any other sort of advice or things you'd say to people who may be struggling for your reason or for other reasons?
Yeah, I think I haven't been probably very kind to myself with the things that I've said whilst this has all started. I got very frustrated with myself. But through those moments of self-care and just looking after myself, which I think you need to do after a difficult experience anyway.
Yeah.
Still something I need to get a bit better at, but that for me has been really important, and just putting things into perspective. Like I said before, this is an experience you have. You've just got to go for it and take it step by step and narrate those small steps and do the little bits and be consistent with it, because I think I need to keep going with the knowledge that I get in order to go for those longer and longer flights.
Yeah. So are you still listening to us, or you got proper podcasts on again now?
No, I do still listen. Yeah, I'm listening every day on my way to and from work.
Do you? All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you doing them in order, or are you just jumping in wherever?
Yeah, I'm just picking and choosing, really. Just whichever one.
I'll have to do them in order. So I'll listen to, I've got a couple of podcasts got on the go, Coffee Break French and Coffee Break German. And I've had to listen to, I can't, even though I kind of look at it, I think I know that. I've had to go right back to the beginning. I just know what it is. So you just jump around, like you're just you just do like a jazz listener. You just listen to anything.
I go, oh, that one looks good. That one looks good. I'll listen to that one.
And what would you like to hear? What is there anything missing from the podcast? You think, I'd really like someone to talk about this.
Oh, that's a good question.
Thank you very much.
That's a good question. I think it's pretty well covered, because you have a look down and you think, oh, someone's talking about this. I never would have thought of that. Maybe, how just when you are up in that cruise, and this might be on there somewhere, as I say, I've haven't done everything yet, but little techniques for thinking, right, I've got 8 hours. How do I not freak out? Because that's my next hurdle.
Yes. Okay. No, I thought, there may be something about that. I think Pete Higgins talks about time structuring in one of his. But yeah, you're right. A lot of people feel like it's just in the middle of nothingness. And they kind of just like, what the hell do I do with myself?
Because the takeoff for me is fine. Something's happening. The landing, I'm going back down. That's fine. It's that middle bit where I'm like, I'm stuck. Okay.
And we always like an equal number of takeoffs and landings. So that's all.
Yes.
Yeah, it's balance the formula. So it's the middle blobby bit that you'd like something around that. Okay. So I asked Chloe after her podcast episode this week, and she came on our Manchester course, and she said, I'd like to hear from people who do, scary things, and what their attitude to fear, overcoming that fear is. I thought, I suppose, because John Bond's found somebody who does hurricane chasing, so we get that person on who's just, they've just got to be off their heads, haven't they? But so it's quite interesting when you pick people. So I'm making a point of asking more people now, what do people like to hear from? So that's fine.
Because that's for me, that's that real kind of pinch point of that's fine. I'm getting better with that. I'm getting better with the lead up because I'm doing all of this, but just a few I know I'll be able to do it. I know I will. I'll get back to watching the films and everything, but just a few things I can have in my head about the next however many hours.
Yeah.
I'm sat in that seat.
I mean, something just to sort of play back to you is that you said, I know I'll get back to watching the films and stuff. So I love that little bit of determination there, that you've got that clear image of what you'll be doing.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to be beaten by this. My mum's stubborn. I'm stubborn. I'm not going to go the other way.
No, well, that's brilliant. And I think there is whatever it takes. I think that is really important. What you just said there, that having a sort of a clear idea, but also that refusal to give in as well.
Yes, I will not give in.
Awesome. Well, Becky,
say fear is temporary, regret is forever. And
fear is temporary, regrets forever. Mic drop. Boom.
Yeah.
No, that's absolutely brilliant. I think that where that is, that one of your ones, or did you read that somewhere?
Oh, I saw it a long time ago. I think a celebrity was doing a bungee jump on something on TV, and they turned to the camera and said that, and it's kind of stuck with me.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's isn't it? Yeah. Well, we'll just say, we'll just credit you to it now. So we don't know that celebrity. So we'll just say Becky came up with this. All right, try one more. Fear is temporary, regret is forever. Nice.
Yeah, we'll just do it. We'll get there.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Becky. That was great. And keep us posted. You know whatever you're going to do next. And if there's anything that we can do in terms of supporting you, so if your next flight coming up, keep doing stuff in the Lovefly Facebook group as well, because that's always nice to see where people get on. We always want pictures, as you know.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for having me, and I hope that we didn't want it to be too gloomy if it's around grief and things, but it just might help other people who've experienced something similar.
Definitely. No, thank you.
No, thank you.